Alexa, turn on the front light. Alexa, make the front light red. Alexa, make string lights cyan. Make the front light white. Make string lights pink, blue, green, pink, red, orange, yellow. Alexa, turn off the front light. Hey, what's happening? Today I am doing a review and an installation and a configuration of a couple of outdoor smart home products. Now, in full disclosure, the company XMCosy reached out to me and asked if they could send me a couple of their products and I would do a video about them. Now, sending me free stuff is in no way going to guarantee that you get a good review. You have to also have a good product. And so far, XMCosy has actually delivered some pretty decent products. I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about this smart wall light. I am going to talk a bit more in depth about these smart string lights. And then I'm going to show you how to install them, how to configure them, how to set up the app, how to configure it with your home automation, all of that stuff. So stay tuned and let's get to it.
Dad, what are you doing with my stuff?
Let's start by answering the very first and probably most important question. Are these worth buying? Now, I've had them installed on my house for a couple of weeks. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I am planning to keep these on my house. They do exactly what they're supposed to do. I like their functionality. They give me some cool things that I can do around the holidays with house lighting. Overall, they're pretty good products. I'm going to start with the smart wall light first. They do come in a 1-pack or a 2-pack, and there's a variety of different styles you can pick. Once installed, and this installs just like any other outdoor wall light, right? A hot, a neutral, a ground. Once it's installed and set up, it actually works really, really well. It integrates with your home automation. I happen to use Amazon for my home automation. It works really, really well for all of that. It does everything you would probably want out of a smart light. The biggest caveat to this particular light that I personally found was wireless. It does not have a super robust wireless antenna. You have to have decent Wi-Fi coverage at the exterior or the perimeter of your house. If you have really adequate wireless, you're probably going to be fine. If you don't, you need to take that into consideration before you start installing exterior smart products. Outside of that, this thing actually works really, really well. It's going to be really fun on holidays, Halloween in particular. I'm really looking forward to having this light. Secondly, these smart string lights. Very cool. They do exactly what they're supposed to do. They're LEDs. They can change colors. You can get them to do all kinds of different patterns. You can control them from the app. You can have them automated so that they follow routines, all of that stuff. The number of feet is maybe a little bit misleading. So this says it's a 98-foot strand. The first bulb to last bulb distance is actually 83 feet. So I had to stretch these out, measure them, figure out how long they were bulb to bulb before I decided where I was going to put them on my house and how I wanted to mount them. They do come with some mounting stuff, right? Some little hooks, some zip ties, and there's a couple spare bulbs in here as well. Now, the one thing I'm going to ding them on here is that you could probably have a lot more of these hooks for mounting these. There's not very many of them. I kind of made my own mounting solution, so these hooks were a lot less important with my particular setup. Outside of that, these things are pretty cool. They work well. They do all the different colors. We're going to have a lot of fun using them during holidays and having them, themed to Christmas or Halloween or whatever that is. Let's get into the installation of these products and let's get into the configuration. There we go. All right. And wow, now this is nice heavy duty. It looks like glass, but I don't think it's actually glass. It actually is a lot bigger than I anticipated.
That's what she said.
But pretty nice looking overall. So got these wires here. I think we're going to be shoving the wires through this elbow and then wiring everything inside this enclosure on the wall. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and kill the breaker right now. Our ground. Now, if you look inside this little parts bag inside there, you will find the little Allen wrench that you need to remove this outside cover. Okay, get that out of the way. So now we can go ahead and get this installed up on the wall. Make sure you do not lose these screws. What I'm trying to do here is make sure that these two bracket holes are level horizontally to the house. Looks like I can use probably this slot and this slot here. And I'll take one more look at that just to make sure I have it nice and level. From the factory, the amount of wire exposed is pretty short, and I don't think that's enough to effectively tie around the house wire. And I'm going to go ahead and just strip back a little bit more of the insulation on these. So let's take this up and wire it to the house. We're going to start with the white. And these are the yellow wire nuts that came with the wall light. Make sure that those are hooked together solidly. And then lastly, I'll go ahead and do my ground wire. All right, with all of our wires pushed in, we should now be able to go ahead and get this cover on. Okay, I got that side started. Now that side's started, I'll go ahead and put in the one on the right. I've got both of those started, so I'm going to use the Allen key to go ahead and finish these up. Okay, that's nice and secured to the house. Okay, breaker's coming back on now. Now at this point, just go ahead and turn your light switch off and then go get your phone, because you are going to need the app to do the rest of this. Now that you have the app downloaded, you can go ahead and turn your light switch back on. Now when you do that, the light is going to start blinking again out front. So look for that white flashing light. Once you have that white flashing light, you're ready to go into the app and actually add the device. Now what that blinking light actually means is that your light is now in pairing mode. So you are now ready in the app for it to be discovered. So if you click the Add Device button in the very center there, it's going to discover that light, which is again in pairing mode, which you can tell from the blinking that it had, right? And this is all in the quick start guide, by the way. So it's going to discover it. You can just click Add where you see that device there, and it's going to take you to a screen where you are going to have to enter your SSID as well as your password for your Wi-Fi, then click Next. Once you do that, the light is now discovered and is going to get added. And now that it's added, you can click Done. So now you have access to this light. You can go in here and change any of the brightness levels for the light. You can change the color of the white. So when I'm talking about white color, it's really more about temperature, right? Whether you want a cool white or a warm white. So you can set all that stuff. If you go into the light itself, you can go into the name and then rename it. So it's going to have a default generic name. I went in and renamed mine Front Light, and that's going to come into play later with Alexa and stuff. So I renamed it Front Light. Again, you can go in and do all kinds of things with the color from the app. We're going to get into the automation part later, but just going in the app, you can create all kinds of different colors or settings or brightness levels or whatever you want. Now, one thing I do want to note is that whatever setting you leave it on, if you turn your light switch off, it will automatically go back to that setting when you turn it back on. All right, for the string lights, I'm going to do it a little bit in reverse in that I want to set them up and test them indoors before I drag these out onto the eaves of my house. I want to validate that they work like I want. So let's go ahead and get them open. These are plastic bulbs. These are not glass. Which is probably a good thing, I would say, overall, given these are going to be hanging outside. The wind might bang them around a little. I don't know if glass bulbs are the best idea. Let's see what else is in the box. There's, looks like a couple extra LEDs. That's nice. There's some clips for hanging this on your eaves. I don't know if there's enough clips, but there's some in there. And then there's some zip ties as well. So a few extra parts. And then of course, some directions and the quick start guide. So here's my first bulb from the plug itself. I'm just stretching out my arms. It looks like I have, I don't know, about 12 feet or so of cord that includes the power supply. So maybe about 10 feet from the power supply till I get to my very first light. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and take all of these off, and then I'll go ahead and plug it in. All right, I'm going to start by opening my XMCosy app. Then, I have never plugged these in before, so we're going to see what happens. Let's go ahead and plug these in. Okay. Well, they just turned on. Now, I'm not even going to look at the quick guide quite yet, because I have a feeling that you need to put these in pairing mode for them to be discovered. There is a button on the power supply, and I'm just going to press and hold it. I find a lot of times if you press and hold for, oh, I don't know, between 5 and 10 seconds, we usually put these in pairing mode. Okay, I probably had to press and hold that for about 7 seconds or so. But now that they're in pairing mode, I'm going to hit the little plus button on my app and hit Add Device. And look at that, discovering devices, and I can see string lights right there. So I'm going to hit the Add button. And now I just have to confirm my Wi-Fi and password. Now this is the second time I've added a device to this app, so my Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi password are already saved in there. So I'm just going to hit Next. And they are being added. Something's obviously happening because they just turned white. So we'll give a second here. Okay, successfully added. So the first thing I'm going to do is hit the little edit button and just rename these to string lights for now. Might change those later, but I'm going to hit done. I think it's asking this because if you can see here, I don't know if you can see here, but at the end of the strand, you have the ability to hook in another strand. So you can daisy chain multiple, and it says there you can support up to 120 and a minimum of 2. Now, this particular one is 30 bulbs. I don't know if you can see that right there, but it's a 98-foot strand, but it's 30 bulbs. So I'm going to change that to 30, which is what it's saying. Hit confirm, and now set up. Okay, I'm going to take you through some of the string light functions now because they're pretty fun. So I've got the app open. You can see my string lights are on right now. They're all set to a warm white. Obviously I can adjust the temperature of those, make them cooler or warmer on the white setting. You can of course go in and play with different colors. That's really easy to do. And then let's get into some of the scenes, because the scenes are actually really fun. So I'm going to reset back to white. And if I go into the scenes, they have some in here that are pre-built that you can play with. Pretty fun. That's a nice kind of wintry one right there. There's a ton of different built-in ones. They have everything from Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Valentine's Day. It's actually almost Valentine's Day, so that's what their built-in one looks like. And I'll show you how to do a DIY one as well, which isn't very hard. So let's go ahead and reset back to white here. And I will go into the scenes in DIY. And I'm going to click Create. Now the rainbow effect is actually one of my favorite because it makes a good kind of following sequence effect. They have some other effects in here. They have one called Chase that doesn't chase kind of like I would like it to. So I'm going to keep it on rainbow for now. I'm going to bring the speed down quite a bit. And then you can obviously have it go either direction. But I'm going to move this over to pink. And I'm going to actually add a couple. So I'm going to hit plus and then plus again. So I added 2 pinks. And now I'm going to come over here and add 2 whites. And then let's come down here and add 2 reds. Okay, so I have 2 pinks, 2 whites, 2 reds. I can now preview that before I save it just to see what it looks like. So let's hit preview. And we should see kind of this chasing effect, right? Going from pink to white to red to pink to white to red, which is pretty cool. You can bring the speed down a bit, hit preview again, and now it'll slow that chase effect down. We could also make the chase go the opposite direction, right? Now it'll start from that end and go that way. Really, really easy to create your own DIY. And once you have one you like, right? This is Valentine's. I'm just going to call this V-Day 1. Confirm. And now I have a scene called V-Day 1. And now if you leave it on a particular scene, every time you turn it off and back on, it should go back to that scene. So let's go ahead and power it off. And we'll go ahead and power it back on. And it goes right back into that. So even if you have this set up on an automated routine, say using your Amazon Alexa or something like that, and you wanted it to do this same routine every night through Valentine's week, you could just have it turn on and off automatically on a routine, and it would default right back to this setting every time it turns on. So pretty cool, some of the stuff that you can do with these lights. Really, really fun. I'm really having a good time with these. Now, one of the things I wanted to be able to do after untangling these, and I'm not going to lie, the untangling part actually took me quite a while. But once I got these all untangled, I wanted to know what the distance was from the very first bulb to the very last bulb. To the midpoint, and I put a zip tie on it for now, just to mark it, is that half of the length, starting from the first bulb to the last bulb, half of the length was 41.5 feet. So my total bulb to bulb on this 30 bulb string is 83 feet. So I'm working with 83 feet. Now they do supply you with a handful of these plastic hooks, and some screws. Now, it's definitely not enough of these that you could put one at each light bulb, and the cord fits kind of loosely in here. So I'm not going to use these to hang the lights themselves, but I will probably use these to manage the cord before and after the first and the last bulb. So what I'm going to do is take this screw. Now, this screw is a little tight, so it doesn't just push through. So I will have to move it through like so. And then I've cut off about 1/4 inch of my vinyl tube. I'm going to slide it on the back like so, and that should give me a nice spacer on the back side of my fascia board where this will sit nice and straight. So I'll start cutting some of these, and then I'll get up on the ladder and start hanging this. All right, hopefully you can see how I did this install. So I just put that screw in each one of those light junctions and just pulled the cable tight. So the cable's just tucked up behind the fascia on my house. Now there's a couple other spots I want to show you. Now on the corners of my eaves where I brought the string lights out to the middle of my lawn, I put in a couple of cable holders just to reinforce it and make sure that it had a good hold on the corner of the eave there. Now coming off the house, I brought these out to this pole in the middle of my lawn and then back to the house over here. Now to make sure this never wore through, I used an old rollerblade wheel and just lathed a groove out of it and made it so that this can move as the wind moves these string lights up and down so that this never chafes through the cable itself. And I think that's going to work pretty well, even as those move around. So given that I started mine from the end and worked my way back to the start of the strand, I was able to get my outlet on the exterior of my house exactly where I wanted it. So I have an outlet and the lights feed directly off that. So the first light starts there right before this corner, and then they just continue all the way down my house, out to the lawn, the post in the lawn, back into the house, and then all the way down to the opposite end. Well, I wanted to test the wind durability with these, and I got the chance to right away because it is super, super windy today. But these lights are holding up just fine in the wind. No problems whatsoever. Now, setting up the XMCosy skill in your Amazon Alexa is not incredibly difficult. You want to go into your app. I'm doing this right here. You want to go into your app and go to your skills. Now, in there, I have already set mine up, but I'm going to go in and show you. I'm going to find XMCosy. Now, you can see in here, I already have this set up in my app, but it's literally a matter of just enabling the skill. So in there, once you have the skill enabled, the XMCosy app will integrate into your Alexa app. Once you're done, you can go into your devices and actually manage things. So I'm just going to click where it says Manage Smart Home Devices. And you can already see recently, two of my most recent ones added were my front light, so my wall sconce, as well as my string lights. So from here, I can do things like turn them on or turn them off. So I can turn them on or off, or I can go into one of those, and there's more settings that you can control from the Alexa app. So outside of being able to turn it on, I can also adjust the brightness. I can change the color, right? It's in a white color right now, but I could go through and change this to any color I feel like, right, from here. And anything that's available to do here in the app is also available as a voice command. So I'm going to try one right now. It looks like I have them set to blue. So I'm going to say, Alexa, set my string lights to red. Okay, and they are now red, right? Didn't have to touch or change anything. Alexa, turn my string lights off. Okay, so those are off now. So I can do that, and then of course, now that I have these added as a smart device, I can add them to any of my routines that I have set up in here. So for instance, my front light, I have turn on in the evening, I have it stay on all night, and then I have it turn off right around sunup in the morning. And you can set the brightness level. You could say turn on at this time to this brightness level and this color, and then turn off at this time. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. Just as a regular routine, there's a whole bunch of things that you can do. Now, outside of the routines, you can obviously use these on holidays and what have you to do different programs or colors, like if you want to set it, orange or purple for Halloween and what have you. There's a lot of different stuff you can do. Okay, I think that about wraps everything up. If you are looking for some cool outdoor smart products, check out the XMCosy stuff. I'll have links in the description to everything I did in the video today. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.